retro trekking with the caramel apples, the apple snack that brings you a retro vibe, both crunchy and sweet, with your hosts Kennedy Rizzo and Cooper Lee.
Kennard, you know, many of our orchard archivers are pet parents of all kinds, and we wanted to devote a snack to the dog lovers among us.
That's right, we can't leave them out.
No.
We've already had our nostalgic cat talk back a few sessions ago. Seasons ago. Where we really zeroed in on our famous retro, some current cats, but still very popular stars of the feline persuasion.
That's right. You know, and this is the perfect time for some canine chatter, since the annual Puppy Bowl is coming up on February 9th at 2 p.m. And that'll be on Animal Planet. That is owing to the fact that this is Super Bowl weekend coming up.
Oh my God, already?
Already.
Man.
You know, and it would have been kind of nice for the Super Bowl if it had, somebody who had a dog as a mascot. That would be kind of cool because we could roll into that too for our show, but it's not to be. And that's okay. Because the puppies are going to be handling it themselves for their little game time show, which is so adorable. But
I bet. Oh.
So cute. And, they're advertising for it like mad. So if anybody's into that, and we know the dog lovers out there, this show's for you. Oh, this is going to be so much fun. Because when we roll into this topic, how many of these actual characters was one of your favorites? And maybe you had this pet, a real pet, when you were younger, or maybe perhaps this got you into the dog love, just seeing some of these on screen. So,
yeah, because that's really kind of how we had to do it. We shared with our orchard archivers before. We didn't have the opportunity to grow up with pets when we were younger.
Right.
We didn't even have a goldfish, but
No, please, no.
That's the truth.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she was not interested in that at all.
No, because she's like, and she kind of showed us and trained us how to do it. She just wasn't interested at all. Yeah, so it wasn't happening. Our dad, he'd have been completely fine with it.
Yeah,
because he always had animals and pets growing up and whatnot, but not our mom.
And truth be said, she would be the one having to handle the dog because dad was at work. So she would have to take care of that dog all the time. And he could come home and just have fun with the dog. So, we can see her point of view.
I think we'd have surprised her.
I think so, too. I think so. Yeah. Especially when we got older to really understand, okay, yeah, we're going to take the dog for a walk.
Our mom overthought stuff. Like she'd overthink stuff. So I think I don't think she realized that I think we'd have surprised her. I think she'd have been like, oh, she'd have given us the opportunity. I think we'd have carried out our little responsibilities of caring for a pet just fine.
Yeah. Alas, we'll never know. We'll never know.
Yes.
But at least we can revisit these pets that we got to watch, these fictional dogs we got to watch on TV, and they were most beloved to us.
Oh, yeah.
And one of those, he might be by far maybe one of the most popular, was Scooby-Doo.
100%.
And from 1969 to 1978, that's when it really got going for that franchise. Like it really took off because when we would see it, it was in syndication at that point because we were catching it in the 80s, and we weren't around for a lot of these before when they were first made. And it's interesting when you think of Scooby because he's the main guy, right? You think of Scooby as the main dog. But if you do some backstory on him, you forget that he had a nephew. You forget about Scrappy-Doo.
Scrappy.
He was so bad. And then there was also Scooby-Dum. Do you remember Scooby-Dum?
I do. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I mean, you think of Scooby, he's like the first one who pops in your head, and you're like, wait a minute. I love that about some of these stories, that they have extended family that's like people. It's like when we did our show on Jim. There was such an immense backstory to these characters. It's like, these are fictional.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But they're giving them a whole world that you can dive into, and it was cool.
Love that.
Yeah, so the story didn't die with these characters because the writers and whatever decided they needed more to bring that character to life, and that is so cool.
Yes, it is. Yeah, and we've talked about that before. Like some of these cartoons and stuff we're talking about, cats or dogs, but dogs this week.
Yeah.
The way they put things together back then was so crafted and so detailed.
Mm-hmm.
It's way better than some of the stuff that's supposed to be serious now. Like they'll try to throw these movies together and TV shows. I mean, about anything and everything, but
Yeah.
the plots aren't really there. The storylines aren't there. The details not really there. It's just a bunch of explosions and fanfare and all that good stuff. Just enough to draw you in for the first 5-10 minutes, and then they don't give you anything else.
Yeah, the substance is missing. Yeah. And you're like, yawn. Yawn again. It's nap time.
It is.
And, with Scooby, he also had full-length movies. And not just the live action, which I never did see those, to be quite honest. I never watched those. But from what I could see, when you'd see the advertisements, the trailers for them, it looked like they picked people who pretty much looked like the characters.
Yeah.
But I was never drawn in to really watch them. Did you ever watch any of those?
Are you talking like the ones with the Three Stooges or Batman and Robin and...
No, I was talking about the ones like the live action where you had, I think Matthew Lillard. I think he played.
Oh, durr. Okay, I'm with you. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah, I think we did see it, Coop. I think we were rooming together back in the early aughts. I think we did actually watch the first one, and it was not good.
Did we?
Yeah, I think so. It wasn't that good.
Oops.
Yep, slipped your mind. Guess it wasn't that good.
Yes, it's like, give us more of what the old stuff was, because there were 3 actual full-length animated movies that actually took place in, I think it was 72, and then another one in like 73. And it was like, that was like ahead of their time at the moment when they did those.
Yeah.
But there was also, I think they had Dick Van Dyke in some of these episodes. You had Phyllis Diller. You mentioned the Three Stooges, Batman and Robin. And like Don Knotts, right? Like Addams Family. It's just, they're definitely picking people of the day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Stories and popular elements in themselves they were putting in. Don Knotts, like, that would not work today. It just wouldn't.
Yeah.
But he was big back then. People knew who he was. Phyllis Diller. They knew who that was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Scooby, he was, I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, he was definitely 9 or 10 as far as popularity, because he's still very, very famous today.
Yeah, I agree. 9 or 10 is a good score. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. He's one of the most recognizable, and the fact that they did have so many offshoots of different variations of Scooby and the gang.
Yeah.
But that's how
Yeah.
enjoyable it was to watch him and like their little personalities. Like he likes to always eat food, the whole bribing him with Scooby snacks. And
And truth be told, he made the Scooby snacks look awful tasty.
didn't I
Yeah, especially when you had Shaggy eating them too.
know?
So it was like, people can have these.
He's like, what are those made of, actually?
Yeah.
I want some.
He grabbed some McDonald Land cookies.
That's right. It's like, oh, and then it rolls out. It's like, oh, that's Scrappy. Never mind. It's just one big punching head. That's all he was.
He really, he was something else. I think Scooby probably got a little fearful of him coming around over the monsters or whatever they were chasing. He was probably way more scared of Scrappy coming.
Scrappy's a bucko.
He was. He was always, let me at him, let me at him.
You know what?
Oh
Hubby
boy.
Hubs did not like Scrappy. He every time, like if it comes on, or you're scrolling through, trying to find something to stream, and he's on there.
Yeah?
Hubby's like, "Ooh, Scrappy," and I'm like, "Really? You don't like Scrappy?" He goes, "No, I never liked Scrappy."
What? No love for the little guy?
Nope,
Oh.
apparently not. Like, because he always says it.
You're like, I got the memo.
like you said, poor little guy. He's like,
Oh,
he's cute.
he is cute.
Yes, but
Ruh-roh.
but we actually did an episode on a pup named Scooby-Doo on our podcast.
Yep.
And that came out, and I think that actually came out in the late 80s. I think it was like 87, 89, something like that. It was later 80s, but that was a
Yeah.
cute one.
That was back in season 2, wasn't it? For us? Season 2 or 3, I think.
I think so. So, it's in the
Yeah.
lineup. So if you is so inclined, check it out. It will be awesome. And we'll link it in the show notes. But,
Right.
um,
We've already been showing some puppy love.
that's right. Gotta love Scooby. There's another one I liked. I think it was in 2002 it come out. What's New, Scooby-Doo? I like the song and everything for that. That one's good. That one's a good one.
Oh, awesome.
Jinkies.
So Scooby definitely, like, he's top tier.
Yeah.
And of course, he's a Great Dane, which is awesome. They're so awesome. They are very intriguing dogs, being the size that they are.
I agree. Mm-hmm.
Like, they're very, very intriguing.
Now, we're not going to go long on this because we actually kind of forgot to put it in our lineup, but we'll just briefly, because he's a Great Dane too, and that's in the future, was jettisoned to the Jetsons, and that was Astro.
That's right, Astro.
So, and it's funny because like with Hanna-Barbera, like they have a theme with a lot of their animation characters. Like it's almost like they copy and paste, wash, rinse, and repeat.
Yes.
And Astro is the futuristic Scooby or Ruby.
Yeah.
But people liked him too. They liked the Jetsons because that had a following. Like a lot of Hanna-Barbera stuff. Like people like, no, that's what it is. That's what it's about. This is good stuff.
That's right. And I mean, obviously, you got the kids lining up left and right for cartoons all day long.
Oh yeah.
And so you've already got a baked in audience, but you can really draw in the older people too. We are adults. We still like cartoons.
Yeah. So not to go long or personal on anything, but I did just bounce out of the hospital. So, they have their little cable channels and stuff. Okay, fine. And I found Boomerang, which I love that channel. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was like binge watching Jetsons, Scooby, like there's different variations of Scooby they throw in there, all kinds of Hanna-Barbera stuff.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm an adult. Come on. I mean, we're Gen X, like there's other things we could watch, and I did. But like, I felt very nostalgic sitting there or laying there watching that. I loved it. I was like, it's just an innocence about it. You can just turn your mind off and escape and enjoy the entertainment. I love that.
Right. And in this day and age, it's sad, but it's little pockets like that that kind of make you go, okay, pick yourself up and dust yourself off. Like you said, you just went through some issues and you were able to find some bright moments, be it as, just to be able to relax and just watch something that took you back to your younger days and just enjoyed and not have to think about anything. You already had a
Right.
lot on your plate and just go in that world for a little bit. So
Right.
cartoons are great for that.
They are. They are natural medicine for reals.
We are straight up advocates for cartoons. Keep your child at heart, right? Stay young at heart.
That's right.
So here's another one. Starts with an S. This is Snoopy.
Oh, Snoopy.
Snoopy's adorable. And I'll tell you what, him and his little friend Woodstock, it's so cute. Uh, but Snoopy had a serious little backstory as well. And I love it because as you get older, that's when you discover this, right?
Yeah.
The older you get, then you start putting pieces together. At first, you're just reading a comic strip or just watching a cartoon. You're not delving deep in. But you can actually comb and find out stuff now. And he was a puppy from Daisy Hill Puppy Farm.
Oh, I vaguely remember that.
Do you?
I do.
That is awesome. Now, do you remember the fact that he had a brother named Spike? He was actually introduced into the lineup in 1975. And he had a sister named Belle from Tex. I think she's from Texas, maybe? Mentioned in 1976.
Okay, now that I'm not familiar with. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so I mean, you think of the Peanuts gang, you think of Snoopy and Woodstock, and it's like, all right, so he had a brother and a sister. Where were they? I mean, I don't remember them straight up from my brain, but I mean, it's just interesting. And he's a beagle. So cute. Now, here's a fun fact.
Okay.
Snoopy is the name of Charles Schultz's mom that Charles Schultz's mom picked for a dog if they ever had one. So he didn't actually have a dog. He didn't have one that was named Snoopy, but that's the name his mom would have picked for their pet.
Interesting. That's pretty cool. Okay.
Isn't that cool? So
Yeah.
it's cute because he created his own little dog.
Oh, sounds like Mr. Schultz was like us.
I know, right?
Engage them imaginations.
Oh, that's right. Yes. So now all of us can enjoy his little imaginary friend.
Aww.
Yeah.
And again, we're Gen Xers and, even like Xennials and Millennials. But when we were younger, a lot of people remember they always had specials with the Peanuts gang, Snoopy, Woodstock.
Yep.
And like back then, there was adult programming. So like sitcoms, there'd be things for the mom and dads or the adults of the world. But there were times that they would do the animated specials, like with Snoopy and the gang. A lot of times it was around like holidays or whatever, but they would still do specials that would come on at night, and we could see that. It was so cool to watch them, an animated classic on something special for us kids.
Right. That's what made it so special.
Yeah, I did. It really did.
Wasn't so readily available that you really looked forward to that. You really looked forward to it.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, everything you can dial up now. Stream it, snap your finger, moment's notice. You can dial something up, pay for it, whatever.
Right.
Back then, like, things meant more because they were that much more special. Like you said, it was like not very accessible. So when they did present something like that, something nostalgic like that, that was the best. I mean, even if it was like a school night or something, it made that better because you're like, okay, I'm watching a cartoon right now. I feel good. I'm at home and with my family. You got these cute characters you can connect with. I love it. I don't know. It's everything about that.
Yeah, and even children today, I'm sure, I mean, we don't raise kids, so I mean, it's hard to really speak on that. But we can look and see what the experience has to be. Very, very, everything's at the ready for children now.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, you can find Boomerang and watch the cartoons we look forward to at this hour, and then the next hour, and then the next hour, and you had to wait till the next day to watch the next set of cartoons. You had to wait for that. Now you got things on streaming, you got things, just a total channel devoted to that.
Yeah.
Like, you have DVDs. We have Looney Tune DVDs. You have all kind. You could just anytime pop it in and watch it. It's a very different experience now for children than it was for us. We had to wait for it to come on TV. You
We
had
did.
to wait for it.
We did.
You couldn't make it or wish it to happen. It just did. And like you said, it was few and far between. It was just a different time, and now it's very on demand. That's what they call it, on demand. It's, I want it and I get it now.
Yeah.
So it's very, very different.
It's saturated. It's just almost too much with everything, which does kind of kill how special things could have been.
Right.
Could have been. Blah, blah, blah,
I was right
blah,
there with you. I was following that.
blah.
So we have other beagles on this list, but we're moving on to this German Shepherd that saw some things in his young days. He was just a little itty bitty baby puppy when he was rescued in France, of all places.
Okay.
And this was during the time of World War One.
Mm.
He was rescued by an American officer, Officer Duncan, and he brought him back stateside. So he survived all that going on, and this is Rin Tin Tin.
Rin Tin Tin.
Rin Tin Tin. So he's a little, what am I saying? He's way out of our time parameters. Like, this is a name that we know because it's in pop culture. You've heard it. We don't know a lot about him.
Mm-hmm.
But it was interesting doing some research on him because, I mean, German Shepherds they're beautiful dogs.
They are.
They're beautiful, and they're very regal looking, I think.
Good word.
They have a presence.
Mm-hmm.
And, we know they're used a lot for, tactical things. They're employed a lot to, like, on task force and things like that. They're used because they're good at that type of thing. And I think because of that presence that we talk about, people see that. They're like, duly noted.
Yeah.
And they're leery. But anyway, this guy in particular, he lived to a ripe old age of 72 in dog years.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that wonderful? Like, he was 14 years old.
Okay.
And he survived through World War One, came over here, and he became a star of sorts. He starred in 27 Hollywood movies, and he became an instant hit for people.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, and it's a nice little story just for his backstory because he was real. He existed, right? I mean, a lot of these that we've talked about are, fictional, sometimes even just made up in someone's mind because they wanted a dog, or he was literally alive and existed. And then there was also other shows that spun off of the things that he did. But he actually made German Shepherds a dog looked at for families. Like, he became so popular that they were like, that would make a nice family dog. So he made it cool for people.
He was trending.
He was trending very good.
Good job, Rin Tin Tin.
That's right.
Yes. So that was a nice little rundown for this beautiful German Shepherd you shared with us, Coop. This one, I think this one's back to Hanna-Barbera. We won't go long on him because, I mean, he's rotten, but his name is Muttley.
Yes.
And just like Astro, Scooby, Scrappy, like, he's that Hanna-Barbera. He's got that look. But he's the one that does that wheezy laugh.
Yes, like, that would make your skin crawl if you were around him. You'd be like, oh, what is he up to now?
Yeah, make you all self-conscious or whatever. But I think he was crafted in 1968, and like you said, he was part of they always had like these, what's the word, where there's like a group of characters.
There's the bad guys. Yeah, there's the good guys, and then they had their arch nemesis that there was the exact same number of them.
Yes.
If they had a bad dog, then they had a good cat. Or, well, it's usually vice versa. But Muttley was a bad dog. but,
Yeah, he's stinky.
but yeah, they always had their, it's like the exact same number, good versus evil type thing. Yeah, so he was with Dastardly, I believe, was his sidekick, was Muttley.
Okay.
And even, like you said, he had that trademark and that underbite. he had a serious underbite.
I totally see him.
I know, right? Yeah, is that a good or a bad thing?
Yes. What is it, Muttley?
Yeah, he was something else. But again, they were catering to the children. Like, somehow they realized that they're like, cartoons are going to be the mainstream ahead for getting to the children. Those young at heart, their cartoons will be the way of the future.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, they weren't wrong.
Yeah, because here, I mean, that was 68, and we know stuff has been made in 50s, and I think Mickey Mouse was even in the 30s, right? So, I mean, whenever they stumbled onto cartoons, they were like, let's stick with that for a while.
And we agree.
Oh, yeah. Now, do you remember the book fairs and stuff at school? Like, they'd give you this little track. Not, it's kind of like a brochure. It was a little order form. I'll get there. It was a little order form they'd give you at school. And it was like a book fair. I think it was what it was called. They'd have books, calendars, posters. They had all these little things that you would order. You could look through, I think it was only like 3 or 4 pages. And you mark on the order form what you wanted. Of course, we didn't have money. So we take it home and we'd be like, can we get maybe the book of stickers or this or that? Like, there were some kids that were able to order 15 things, right?
Yeah.
And we were doing good to maybe get one when the book fair came around. But, you know, it is what it is. It's our childhood, and we relish those memories.
Yeah.
But do you remember this next one on our list? I believe you got his book at the book fair.
I know, I did. Yeah. That was the I think he was just a mutt, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Okay. Benji.
Yep.
That was big back when we were kids. That was huge. I think there was a movie even they made or that surrounded
8.
Was it?
They've made 8 movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There were 4 in the 70s, 2 in the 80s. One was 87. Thought you'd like that.
That's right. That's my
Yeah. And then there was one in 2004 and finally in 2018. I was blown away. 2018? I didn't even realize Benji was still a thing.
I didn't either. No.
It's bizarre.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the dog Benji was played by Higgins. Another one named Bean Jean, Moochie, Fairfield, Sally Sue, and Odola.
That's a lot. And that's interesting because it's like they're all playing a character because obviously Benji was made up. But here you have all these dogs that are filling this role of this fictional character that is so beloved by so many.
Yeah.
Benji's what stood out.
Oh,
It's so cool.
it is. I'm glad we're doing that this week. This is just heartwarming, right?
It is. I mean, because, when you think about it, it's like there's a lot. The past is full of rich history.
Yeah.
That when you really start dissecting it and putting pieces together, you're like, I didn't even realize there was that many famous dogs. You just knew about them and moved on.
Yeah.
But when you went back, it's like, we have a lot of dogs we can talk about.
Yes, that is so cool too.
Yeah.
The Benji films, they actually began back in 1974. And for lack of a better term, As we had already mentioned, he was just a mutt. He was a lovable
Yeah.
mutt.
Yes, yes, yes.
But like some of the things about him, and this is why kids and adults alike just like open their hearts up for him. And he had a sad story, not just that he was a mutt, which is sad in itself, but
Yeah.
he was a stray, and he's liked, but not well enough to provide him a place to call home. That makes you want to cry. Like, 'cause it's like, why can't he have a home? Like just take him
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, you're being nice to him. Be real nice to him. Take him home.
Yeah, make it official.
Yeah.
So, well, he
Yeah.
owns the heart of parents whose children are kidnapped, and he is the only one who can find them. So he has a special skill.
Yes, he does.
So this type of film is just what you'd find in the 70s. It's lighthearted and innocent, bringing Benji through adventure and straight into the new homes and hearts of everyone around, everybody that's just into this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that's just, I don't know. They just did stuff better back then. I don't know. They really did tap into our emotions.
They did. And you can, when you go back and you're looking and thinking about nostalgia and your memories and you're thinking about it,
Yeah.
like really sit in that space,
Mm-hmm.
you can really drum up the feelings and remember what it was like. It was innocent.
Yeah.
Like it just, like you could easily put Benji on a film strip in school and be like, yeah, I can imagine watching that in school. It just, there was something about living back then. You just can't replicate it. You really can't.
It's true. That's the golden, caramel golden, nice nugget of nostalgia. You're like, that was a stretch.
And that's
It was.
but but we know where you're going with that. Because literally that's why we have this podcast.
Yeah.
We are trying to, in a way, and we know it's hard to do, but we're trying to put people in that space. Because we lived it. We were there. We didn't have a choice in it. That's where we were plunked. Right? So that's where we existed. And with what we talk about, our topics, we really are trying to give a little hint of what it was like being a child back then.
Yeah.
And somehow maybe you can tap in and go, oh, wow, because this was innocent. It was innocent stuff.
Yeah.
And here's a fun fact that's pretty interesting.
Okay.
Everybody knows Alfred Hitchcock, right? I mean, he's somebody that's been around forever. People know his stories. This was actually a favorite of his.
Oh, really?
Yeah, isn't that kind of cool? It's like, I mean, he is well known. He was a movie director. I think he wrote his movies too.
Oh, yes, I think he
Anyhow,
did.
I mean,
Yes.
he was a juggernaut in his own right?
Yeah.
And he enjoyed Benji. So it's like, that tells you something about Benji.
Yeah, that's right. Them sad puppy dog eyes and everything's like, how can you not?
I know. But as we mentioned, you did get something from the book fair, which is nice. And they had quite a few books, actually. And it was always something like Benji and the Tornado or Benji and the Detective. So Benji was the introduction into the saga, whatever was about ready to unfold within the pages of that book.
Yeah.
So Benji was the hero.
He was. And a hero of our hearts and emotions.
That's right.
Okay, you want to start that for part 2?
Yeah. Well, okay. Let's go ahead and cut it off here.
Okay.
And so we'll wrap it up and come back.
Okay.
Okay. That's it for this week's Apple Snack. But as you know, there's always more where that came from. So stay tuned. Check us out on X, the Gram, TikTok, or wherever you get your podcast fix. Don't forget, go to RetroTrekwithTheCaramelApples.com to see what's going down in the orchard. Thanks for stopping in. Bye.